Welcome to Game of Roses. This is Pacecase.
This is Bachelor Clues, and today we have a very special guest.
I can't believe who we have today.
192. What, Lizzie?
I can't believe who we have today. I'm so excited.
We are truly graced with the presence of a superstar. 192K Instagram followers, 130.9K TikTok followers, co-champion of the Trust Season 1, veteran of Perfect Match Season 2, Tolu Ekundare. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Oh, I love that intro. I sound very important.
Well, you are very important. I don't know. Look,
the star of Perfect Match.
Yeah, to us, reality television is a professional sport, and you are one of the most electrifying players we have seen come out of the Netflix reality universe, really since its inception.
For real.
Oh my God, that just made my heart so happy. What the heck?
You should have seen. So Chad watches the show, and I watched him watch the show basically. And throughout, I mean, I agreed with his estimation. He was just tracking your numbers. He's like, we got to get those up. Those numbers got to be up. She's a star, and they did go up a lot. So I'm very happy about that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later about how your social media numbers kind of exploded because of this, which is a great thing. But I want to start this interview, if I may, where we start a lot of interviews. What were your first reality shows that you watched when you were growing up?
Ooh, okay. My first reality shows that I can remember were, this is kind of ghetto. A Bad Girls Club.
Oh my God. Which seasons?
All the like earlier seasons. I stopped watching after a little preserve the brain cells.
Of course.
But like the earlier seasons of Bad Girls Club, like with the Claremont twins before they became what they are now when they were still regular.
Did you watch the season with Ripsy? Do you remember Ripsy?
No, I don't remember Ripsy.
She was in, I think, season 2, I want to say. Some of the wildest shit I have ever seen in reality television from Ripsy in Bad Girls Club.
Wow, I gotta watch Bad Girls Club.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you need to watch it, but like take it with a grain of salt and remember, I feel like reality TV back in the early 2000s, that was a completely different beast, reality TV. Like I even remember another show I used to love with my mom was America's Next Top Model. Like with Tyra Banks.
Me too.
Yeah.
And now I look at some of the scenes and I'm like, that
doesn't hold up.
Yeah, she was not very nice to some of those players. Tyra Banks was like, "This is my show, and that's how it's going to be," and it worked for a minute because in those
the body shaming, she would like redo all their stuff.
Oh my God, there was a whole season where she made them switch races. Yes. And she had like the white girl. She dressed her up like a black woman. I said, "Not you got all in blackface." And then she had
I blocked that one out.
Women, like they were like Hispanic or Islanders. I said, "What the hell is this? And what do you mean you need to start acting like your race? Like, or nobody is a monolith. Like you can't
acting
say
like your race."
Acting like the race that they have painted them to be in that scenario. I was like, Tyra, you get away with a lot, girl.
She did. But it was kind of like in that era, the early days of what we call second wave reality TV really were coming out of a time when Jerry Springer was big and that kind of like very salacious talk shows were kind of reality TV-esque. And I think that tone, it just went right into it. Real World had a bunch of that similar kind of stuff, especially season 1 back in 1993 or 4 or whatever it was. But all right, so we have some idea of kind of what your entry point into reality television was. What made you want to get into reality TV yourself?
UPN before it joined the WB.
I never saw myself as getting into reality TV. It was never even like a pipe dream for me because like, there are certain dreams that you kind of feel like are too grand and like just to preserve like your if I don't hope it, then I can't be disappointed if it doesn't happen. So I never ever saw myself to be on reality TV. I never thought I could be like a TV person.
That is so unreal.
Right. That's why this whole experience is so crazy to me. Cause like, even when I applied for the trust before I knew what it was, cause it was like a no name no-name show.
Sure.
Right? And the call to action was a new reality show on major streaming platform, opportunity to win life-changing amount of money. So all I cared about was money. I said, oh, so I can win money? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go on this show. Like, I thought it was going to be on like Tubi or something. I didn't know what the hell it was. I didn't care. I just wanted to win money. And then when we got to Dominican Republic and I'm standing on the cliff and Brooke is like, by the way, did you guys know that this is Netflix? I was like, what the what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on Netflix. Like, I was freaking out. And then
Is this filmed? You learning that it's on Netflix? Oh, dang.
Y'all are lying, and I know someone's gonna come out from behind the cliff and be like, "Ha ha ha! Just kidding. This is punked. We did a reboot.
Tubi.
Like, this is Tubi, and you've been punked." But no, it really was Netflix.
I'm glad it wasn't Tubi. But hearing you say that you were under the impression, oh, I could never be on reality TV. This is for me. Hearing like, Roger Clemens, I don't know if that name means anything to you, say, I can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but I don't know if I should be playing baseball. I don't know. I mean, it's your kind of innate reality television abilities are off the charts, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree from moment one.
Y'all are making my heart so happy right now. Like,
the colorful, what we call the colorful narration, when you're speaking directly to camera, the one-liners, it was incredible. Popped from the minute.
Yeah.
So exciting to watch.
I couldn't be more happy that they kind of pulled you into what they're calling the NRU, the Netflix reality universe, and gave you another shot after The Trust to get into what is really their all-star show, where I think you were one of the most exciting characters on it, I think.
I dominated. They were calling it the Tolu Show. I call it the Tolu Show, but they were calling it the Tolu Show, but I agree with them.
Yes, as do we.
I mean, you're the only one who made it. I watched Perfect Match. I didn't watch The Trust, but there's 5 winners. Was there a unionization play to all share the money eventually?
So The Trust was a very unique concept in the fact that we all walked into the house, 11 of us. We started with 11 and we all arrived in the house as winners. The only thing you need to do to secure your win is just stay in the house. So then they give you the opportunity to vote. If you want to, it's not like other shows where everybody has to vote. This one, you only vote if you want to vote, but whoever gets the most votes, they're eliminated. So even if kind of 10 out of the 11 are like, no, I want to share the trust, I don't want to vote. And one person's like, oh, I want to vote. That one vote is now the majority, and whoever they voted for gets eliminated. So it's a game about trust. It's a game about greed. And it's really, I feel like it's a game about distrust, because we're all strangers coming in the house and everybody's like, yeah, we're going to be best friends. We're a family. They were using the word family. And and immediately I was like, I don't trust y'all, because how are you considering me family and y'all don't even know who I am? So and I was very much a strong personality in the house. And again, my call to action when I applied for this show is life-changing amount of money. So the trust started with 250,000 divided by 11. I'm not good at math, but that's not a life-changing amount of money.
Depends on what kind of life you have, but yes, I agree. I agree.
Life.
It's a life, not my life. And I was like, I want my life to change, so we're going to do what needs to be done. And at the end of it, 5 of us ended up splitting the trust, but I took a portion for myself.
And so what on that show, that game mechanic is a very interesting one because it can be broken immediately. What if all 11 players from episode 1 are like, nope, we're all just going to split it. And that's it. Now you got 10 episodes of 11 people just sitting around being like, so when do I get my check for $15,000? What level of kind of manipulation did the producers have on that show to get you guys to have the arguments and kick each other off? Were they involved in that?
Honestly, I feel as though all the drama happened very organically after the first night, because voting commenced the first night. We voted somebody out, or technically it was the second or third night. We voted somebody out because he was not trustworthy. He was lying, which I need everybody to recognize that we voted off Chuels because he was lying, period. Let's just get that out there. So he wasn't trustworthy. He was lying, and that kick-started the game. And then people were like, "Oh shit! Oh, they're actually voting people off. We're not doing summer vacation where we just get paid
Yeah.
$1,000. No." So that's when people started seeing like, "Oh,
Started
this
to
is really
play.
yeah." But really, it was more so the women because like the most of the men were still on this whole like, we're just gonna, we already want some money. We're just happy to be here. We're a happy family. We're just gonna chill and vibe. And then the women were like, well, we don't feel like everybody is equally deserving. First off, and then secondly, like I feel like that's a privilege for you to have to just innately trust everybody because you don't walk like, and I can speak candidly as a woman.
Yeah.
I'm walking down the street, I have to be hyper aware of who is around me. What are my surroundings? Because this world is scary. We don't have the privilege to just innately trust people. I have to be like, could you hurt me? Could you harm? Like I constantly have to
Would I pick a bear over you in the forest, etc.
I'm not gonna lie, that bear, it's seeming
100% choose the bear.
Better option. Yeah. I would definitely pick the bear because the worse the bear is. Like a man, God knows what some men are capable of, So I feel like that also plays a role into it. Like, of course, men have that ability to just be innately trusting because you don't have to walk through the world like on hyper focus. Whereas us as women, we recognize that this world is full of dangers for us. So we don't have that ability to just be like, we trust everybody. Like, no. You have to give me a reason to trust you. My trust is not just given, it's earned. Whereas the man was just so it was a lot of social and gender dynamics and racial dynamics that went into play throughout the entire experience. So the producers, honestly, and it's so funny, I spoke with them after. They were like, y'all made this show better than we ever thought it could be. We thought they thought it would be like maybe 2 or 3 rounds of voting before maybe they would have to give a little push to get somebody to vote. And they were like, y'all just started voting off the first night. I was like, yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
love that. I mean, they're not allowed to interfere when there's a money prize as much. That's super interesting.
Well, so they say.
Technically, that's like a thing about game shows.
Yeah.
Did they ask you? We've talked to players who are asked to be on the next show right as soon as that first one stops shooting. When were you asked to do Perfect Match?
So we wrapped up. Okay, so we filmed The Trust in March, and we wrapped it up like right at the like the first week of April, right? And then they contacted me just for a chat. It was just for an initial chat, and they contacted me maybe like 3 months later or 3 or 4 months later for a chat, and then when we had that chat, they were like, okay, so what's your relationship status? And I was like, I'm single. Wow, you got a husband for me? And then they were like, oh, we're casting for this show. I don't know if you know it, called Perfect Match. I said, Perfect Match? And it's so funny because Perfect Match had just come out February of that year on Valentine's Day. And February was when I was packing to shoot for The Trust, to leave for The Trust, because we were filming that in the beginning of March. So I was literally watching Perfect Match while I'm like folding my clothes to do my own little show that I didn't even know was going to be on Netflix. Do my little Tubi.
Wow.
Didn't think it was related at all. Yeah.
And it's so crazy because literally like 4 or 5 months later, they're calling me to be on this show, like to be on Perfect Match. And I was just like, God, you're so good, because that I couldn't have written this storyline better myself.
But I mean, this is like, from time to time, I coach players to infiltrate The Bachelor, and now I'm kind of expanding into some other games as well. And I always tell them, like, your goal in whatever entry-level game you go into is not even necessarily to win whatever that prize is. It's to show the producers that they need you in another show. And I think you did that in The Trust, like, better than anyone. But you're saying there was about a 3-month period from winning The Trust until they invite you to come on Perfect Match Season 2. In those 3 months, you're a champion of a Netflix show. Do they invite you into the Netflix reality universe family? Are you going to parties and stuff and meeting some of the other Netflix people?
No, because my show hadn't come out yet. So like,
got it.
That I'm a Netflix champion, but the world doesn't. And neither do the other Netflix reality stars. So I wasn't invited to start going to Netflix events until after the trust had come out the following January.
So going into shooting Perfect Match, you have no idea how the trust is even going to be received by audiences or if it's going to be a hit or what.
Nope, I knew
Wow.
nothing. I didn't know how
Wow.
the edit
Hadn't
was
even
going to be.
aired.
I didn't even know if it was going to be a flop or if people were going to like it, if people were going to like me. So it's so funny when people are like, you felt like the most genuine and authentic person there. I was like, because literally I'm just like in this show with big reality stars that I've watched their show. Like I've seen the seasons of Love is Blind, the seasons of Too Hot to Handle. I even watched Dated and Related. So I know all of these people.
Wow.
They
You
don't
were
know that's how
studied.
I am. I'm just like, this regular ass girl, like, hi, you guys.
But you're not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're potentially still, I wouldn't even say you're a rookie. I mean, you're a champion of a Netflix show. That is, in my opinion, in terms of at least gameplay, you're at the same level as almost any of these players, I would argue, at least in terms of gameplay. Maybe not in terms of exposure yet, because your show hasn't come out yet. Like, you don't have.
The shows kind of have an implicit ranking too. Like Love is Blind is one of the more popular shows. Some of the other ones we might be hearing about for the first time.
Yeah. But for my money, it's like you proved, and the trust is like maybe in the pantheon of the Netflix reality universe. It's not at the top, but I think you proved in the season of Perfect Match, you can hang with the top people of any of these games.
And you are going to make so many people watch the trust now.
I know so many people are watching it now and I'm just like, okay, but remember that you like me.
That's why they're watching it. They're watching because they like you.
And it's so funny that you said that because like I even feel like when you said like in terms of strategy, like I am to par with them. I kind of feel like I'm above because some of these people, I can tell that they were trying to play a strategic game, like during Perfect Match.
Who, for example?
Even then,
who in Perfect Match was playing a strategic game? In your estimation,
most of the men were trying to be strategic in their own way, like in every facet of everything from who they selected to be their match, even to who they chose in the boardroom. Like there were even conversations like, oh, so and so was on the board, but we don't want them to come in because they're gonna steal screen time. And I'm just like, that's kind of
they're gonna steal screen time. Interesting.
Yeah,
that's a good strategy.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, but also in the same breath, I feel like that's kind of dumb because like the what's gonna make this show is like if this is a good show.
Right? All boats rise with the tide.
Want those key players because they're gonna get more eyes on the show, and thus you're gonna have more eyes on you. It's gonna become so mundane and so boring if it's just like the same people with the same story, the same
no twists.
That's the same thing that almost happened with the trust. Before me and the other women decided, now we want to shake shit up. We're not going to just film summer camp for 3 weeks. That doesn't make any sense. Like that's also part of the strategy. Make an entertainment. It's entertainment. Totally. Like that's what reality TV is. Entertainment.
Yeah. We got to live up to the NRU name once you know you're on Netflix.
Once they give you the red jacket. Speaking of the boardroom, I have had this question since Perfect Match season 1. How much control do you actually have in the boardroom? Are producers telling you guys can pick one player, but you also have to get Jess Vestal back in the show? Is it anything like that?
No, actually, all the times that I went into the boardroom, we had like complete like autonomy. Like, all right, make the best decision. Actually, the only thing, the final boardroom, that was the only time we had any stipulation was when they were like, okay, well, we want you to pick a guy and a girl. Like, because that was the one that was mixed. So they were like, all right, pick one guy and pick one girl. But that was the only time that there were any stipulations. But as far as the rest, it was like, we could bring in or keep out whomever we wanted to. That's why some of the dudes were trying to be strategic. And they're like, oh, we don't want to bring this person in. They're too big of a personality. We want to bring this person in. I was like, if they're too big of a personality, bring them in. Just you be a bigger personality. That's what makes TV entertaining.
Yeah. And that's why you're a high level player and some of them are not. Yeah. I'm so curious how the strategy will evolve. Like you definitely saw people bringing in like, oh, they're from the same show as me. Like maybe that's a vote in my corner kind of thing. And obviously what we saw with the unionization play on Perfect Match, I don't think Netflix can have that happen again. So they're gonna have to
They have to switch it up.
interfere somehow.
Are you aware of what we're talking about? Chris Holland, who you were matched with for most of the show, put out an Instagram reel where he basically said the players that came in late all agreed, made a pact to vote for any of the other players who came in late if they wound up in the finals. And that's why Nigel and Christine wound up winning after only being matched for like a week or whatever, one round of the game. Are you aware of that pact? Is that real?
Well, yes and no. It's a yes and no. I feel like by that point, there was a clear division of, all right, it was like the house people versus the hotel people, right? And the hotel people, nobody gets sent home. You just get sent to a hotel because everybody has to go back to the finale. So it was a clear division of the house versus the hotel. And the hotel people were really upset because they felt as though like the people in the house were playing it too safe.
The stars.
Trying to be fake loyal, and they weren't giving them the opportunity to come into the house and shake shit up and stuff like that. And so because of that annoyance, that anger, especially from like the hotel women's side, because they were really annoyed with some of the men in the house. Like, y'all are over here pretending like you're possibly going to match with us. And then last minute you stick with the person that you're in. And why even put in the effort to play, you know, like it felt like they were being played. So then they were like, all right, cool. We don't like these. We don't like this man, this man, this man, this man, this man. The only man that they don't have an issue with is the one that didn't give them a chance to be an issue because he was never in. So, which is Nigel and Christine. So at the end of that, they were like, all right, fuck it. Y'all didn't want to give us an opportunity to get into this house. Cool. Then we're just going to vote for the person that's been out the house the longest. And it's like, oh, well.
Yeah, it was an interesting
strategy. Are they
strategy.
able to talk to each other in the hotel? Like, were they bonding outside? Or are they all individually sequestered?
We're all individually sequestered in the hotel, but there's always a way. There's always a way. So there are people like sneaking out. There were people like, you know,
there's your show.
Letters. Like there's always a way. So they were connecting, or they would go to the gym around the same time so that they could see each other, or go have lunch around the same time. Like, so they had that opportunity to bond in the hotel while the rest of us were just in the house, like unaware of what the heck is going on.
I don't know if you watch Love Island at all, but this is a problem they have in that show too, where you have the OGs always tend to do better than the people who come in later, the bombshells or the Casa Amor people.
And it's the same.
I kind of like to see what happened with this perfect match. I'm like, yeah, take it back from the OGs. Don't let them win.
Totally. I mean, it's interesting. We follow Bachelor in Paradise also. Now it is canceled. But prior to its cancellation, what's that?
Maybe. It's just not renewed this year. We don't know.
It's not coming back for a season 10. And I think largely because of Perfect Match. I think Perfect Match has kind of taken the place as like the dating all-star show. Bachelor in Paradise cannot hold a candle to it. And I think the thing you're talking about, that when you're sequestered in the hotel, you can kind of still talk to each other and like make plans and do whatever. Bachelor in Paradise, you are a prisoner. You cannot leave your room without a producer coming to like hold you by the hand to go to the bathroom. And I think that was kind of a detrimental way that they made that show. And you see with the
they made a villain edit about people who snuck around in the hotel during a storm.
Yeah, Ivan Hall used a thunderstorm as an opportunity to sneak out of his room to go talk to a girl that he liked because she was being held prisoner in her hotel room. Alexa Ray Caves.
A producer's phone was open to the room numbers or something, supposedly.
A bunch of big scandals. But talking about the strategies that you're talking about of some of these guys, there were moments that are included in the edit. So producers are okay showing us this footage of, you had to look closely at it and you have to know what you're looking for. But you can see moments where especially Harry Jowsey and Dom, who are kind of the most OG of all of these Netflix male reality stars, are talking to each other. And at one point, Harry says something to him that's like, oh yeah, mate, I'm here to find love. And then he kind of like openly laughs at even the idea of it. And so does Dom. And they're essentially revealing in an almost like pro wrestling kind of way that they're just there to get their Instagram numbers up. So my question based on all this is, how open are all the players in Perfect Match about talking about their social media numbers, their brand deals, all that kind of stuff that we don't necessarily get to see on camera?
Well, it was it was talked about. Like it wasn't a secret. Like everybody knew that, okay, the Perfect Match, like we saw the success that Perfect Match season 1 had. And you know that typically a season 2 show, like it does even better than a season 1
Yep.
because there's
Yeah.
like it has that, like people have heard about how well season 1 is, so they're definitely going to be tuned into season 2. So we were all excited, like, oh my gosh, this is gonna boost us up, or
Yeah.
so and so is already at whatever 100,000 or a million, they're gonna blow up. And I'm just like, I'm at 2K, so any higher, I'm really gonna.
Only way to go is up, baby.
Only way to go is up.
Yeah.
So they would talk about these strategies, but again, I was very much a novice to all of this. Like I didn't know how the brand ambassador stuff works. I didn't have henchmen. I didn't know how high like your following can like shoot up. Obviously it shoots up, but I just wasn't fully aware of all this. I was genuinely there like, I'm trying to find love. My end goal was, if I can find a good man from this show, then we could make the most beautiful Netflix power couple and just like take over. It was world domination. That was my goal.
Okay.
And our
I think that's still going to happen.
That's a viable strategy. We call that looking for your world changer in the Bachelor universe, because many people come into the game with that exact same strategy. I'm looking for somebody to change the world with, like kind of an ambitious power couple to build a business or a brand or, you know, whatever. And obviously the Netflix reality universe has produced, even from the first season of Love is Blind, Lauren Speed and Cameron Hamilton.
They
are
kind
exactly of the blueprint.
I always say that's like, because when people are like, oh, you really think that you're going to find love on a reality show? I'm like, well, Lauren and Cameron found love. Brett and Tiffany found love. Like there's even a Too Hot to couple that just had a baby together. Like it's possible. I'm not saying it's plausible, but it's possible.
It's certainly possible. And you definitely held your own despite no henchmen. I hope you have henchmen now.
I have a cute little army. Oh my gosh, that's like the best thing to come out of this is that like now my following, because from the trust I grew up to 23,000, right? 23,000 followers, and then after Perfect Match came out, now I'm at 192, and I have the most like engaging and adoring fan base, and I really thank God for them. Like it's one thing to have followers, but I genuinely have fans. And I never saw myself as somebody who can like have fans before. And they ride for me. Like somebody leaves a nasty comment and I'll like be going through somebody else's video and they're like, oh, that Tolu girl is too loud and too this, too that. There's like 10 people who are commenting. I was like, yes, fight for me.
The Toluverse. Let's go.
They're not playing about me and I love them so much. I love you guys.
I think it's because you have what we call in the Bachelor world, you have a style that's very for TRR, for the right reasons. And even to what you were just saying here, that you went into Perfect Match, like hoping to find love, that it's possible. Like, I don't think it is in Perfect Match. Personally, no, I think that game is like.
What do you mean? We're gonna get a perfect match, baby. No, don't crush my dreams.
I make this prediction right now. No couple from Perfect Match will ever get married. I'm making that prediction from now till the end of time.
Too Hot to Handle, you would think the same thing. So.
No, but Perfect Match is a different thing. Too Hot to Handle is an entry-level game. So you go into that game to get into the Netflix reality universe. And I think you might be, it's similar to Love is Blind. It's like, yeah, you're open to the possibility. Generally speaking, no one goes on Perfect Match to get in a relationship. They're there to extend whatever their power in the NRU is and get the numbers up.
I don't think it's or. I think it's like.
I think that one is. I'm sorry. Perfect Match is an or. I think.
Fight.
Like,
I mean, we're always having this argument. I think a lot more of the audience thinks that all the relationships are real. There's a chance of them getting married. I think that way more than Chad does. He's like, no, everyone must know this is fake. And I'm like, people are sending scripted characters death threats. You know, people are stupid. They don't know.
No, we do live in a Tulu society, but I don't think it's impossible for people to find real love on Perfect Match. I think it just comes to a matter of casting people with the same kind of intentions. Like, okay, of course you have your reality stars that just want to, you know, grow their exposure, their following, brand deals. But then you have those other people who genuinely are looking for love. So if you cast a male version of Tolu and I find the male version of myself and we find each other, we both have the same end goal in mind, like to establish a genuine relationship. And it's very possible. But again, it all goes down to casting people who really want to find somebody. And I feel like was where we fell short this season was like you saw the women. Like honestly, if the men were a lot better, there would have been so many relationships to grow out of it. But it was really men were there for a certain thing, and that thing was not for relationships, and that's to our own dismay and detriment, because it's like, damn, why'd you play us like a fiddle if you knew that you wanted to do a little one-man show? Like, so
I think that exact sentiment is really now coming out a lot about Bryton Constantine from Squid Game Challenge. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff on social media about him and the disparaging remarks that he supposedly made about transphobic and homophobic remarks. And there's a bunch of now Netflix players from other games calling on Netflix to take a stand, make a statement, and kind of denounce him, which they're not doing. But this has been a problem in Bachelor as well, kind of like what is perceived as almost the purposeful, problematic casting of somebody that they know is maybe like on the opposite side of everyone else in certain ideologies. I don't know if you saw that personally, but Dominic has put out some Instagram reels and TikToks to that effect about him. I don't know did you ever have any kind of strange dealings with him while you were in the show?
Bryton.
Okay.
Is he the one that got away? Is that what your laugh is saying?
No, my whole thing is Bryton is not a character. Bryton is like a lot of people I feel like put on a show, but Bryton is actually the dude that he presents himself to be. He's not putting on a character. He's not one to be.
Oh, geez.
Like, no, he's really that. Like, Bryton is.
I got that too. It seems like he says exactly what comes into his head.
Exactly how he feels and feels exactly how he says. And then I would just say, like, I don't feel as though Netflix casted him intentionally because they recognize, like, oh, he's going to be the villain. I'm sure they knew that he was going to be the villain. But also keep in mind, Bryton's show, Squid Games, hadn't come out yet when we filmed Perfect Match. So me, Bryton, Jessica, and Justin and Izzy, all five of us, we were just brand new. Like none of our shows had aired yet.
Yeah.
So we're super uber green to all of this. So I don't think Netflix knew like how kind of the mindset that Bryton has built, because a lot of that didn't come out until after Squid Game, the challenge came out. But by that point, we already filmed Perfect.
You shot it. So. And he's involved
and
in
they probably have this
and
idea. They're like, oh, well, we need someone from each of these shows to promote them. So like he seems like he's gonna pop from this one.
Well, let me ask you about the Netflix reality universe. You kind of brought this up, that you guys had all shot your shows, but they hadn't come out yet, and now you're shooting this other show. We call this the watch back period, basically, and there's usually like kind of a blackout period where you've shot the show and you're waiting for it to come out. In Bachelor, that's much more condensed. It's a matter of like months, maybe. But in the Netflix world, it could be almost a year. You hear about them shooting like a Love is Blind season that doesn't come out for like 9 months. Are you under some kind of contractual obligation to not date or not publicly put any relationships on social media until your season comes out?
I think for the Love is Blind people, they have that contractual obligation. But, I came from a strategy show, so they didn't care about my love life. My love life had nothing to do with the trust. But after Perfect Match, the only thing that was in our contract was like during the promo period, then like whatever relationships that you have, that has to, your social media needs to focus on promoting like Perfect Match. You can't be like, for example, Elise was dating, what's her boyfriend? Nathan. Elise was dating Nathan shortly after the show, but she had a storyline with Justin and with Bryton. So he was asked like right before the cast announcements, okay, so now you have to go and archive the photos of you and your boyfriend
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
I know that
interesting.
happened with Francesca season 1.
Yeah.
Was
And
already
it
like
it
listening.
basically blows apart any of the narratives because you already kind of know just based
Mhm.
on looking at people's social media that like Harry Jowsey and Jess Vestal are not together. You know, we know that. So what are we watching here? This is
I don't know.
absurd.
Look,
That kind
I
of thing.
asked you. I literally just finished watching, and I was like, "Is anyone together?" You're like, "No," and I was like, "What about Harry and Jess?" And you were like, "Come on."
That one to me,
A lot
look,
of people, like what they see on the TV, like a lot of people are TV people, you know, like
sure.
they're there to watch the show and enjoy the show. They're not going to sit there and like be hyper investigatory and like, okay, let me go
Yeah.
see
Mm,
who is she talking to 3 months from now. Like, of course, you have your fans that are like diehard like that, but then you a lot of times you just have the people who are like, oh, there's this new show, Perfect Match. Oh, it's trending #2 in the country, #1 in the country. I don't even know what this is about. Let me watch it. Let me see what's going on.
yeah.
So from there, and then by that point, like everybody has done archive whatever relationships that they have formulated while
Yeah.
the show was still
Right.
edited
The
came out.
archiving tricks most people.
Yeah, not us.
Exactly.
We call those people casuals. We are not that. We go very deep into all this. We have stat grids and all this kind of stuff. I mean, like
Yeah,
I
it's
told
hard to
you,
picture what they're seeing.
yeah. But I do think we're entering a phase in reality television. I said this up top. We really view it as a professional sport. And like to me, what is happening right now with our show and some others like it who like really dig into this is very reminiscent, not that I was alive then, but of what happened with baseball in the early 1900s and 1920s, where sports writers were kind of looking at it with a more critical eye, coming up with statistical categories and really defining how it was covered. And I think now with the explosion of what we're calling third wave reality TV, which is like traders, World's Toughest Test, Special Forces, House of Villains, The GOAT on
So,
Amazon, where they're taking players from a bunch of different reality worlds and like putting them in these games against each other. I think that is going to drastically increase the amount of people who watch reality TV and who really start to scrutinize and analyze like how it's made and what all this stuff means. Personally, that's just where I think we're headed. And I think you're like super well positioned to be a massive star in third wave as it's coming
yeah.
out.
Fingers crossed. Oh my
I don't even
God.
think we need
Would
to
you
cross the fingers. I think it's
I have an
happening as we
idea.
speak.
Would you do season 3?
A Perfect Match.
Mm-hmm.
I would host season 3 of Perfect Match.
Ooh, a direct threat to Dark Lord Nick Lachey.
Yes. Go
I love you,
for
Sticky too. I just
dress
feel
for the
like
job you want.
I feel like I would be such an amazing host for
Absolutely.
whatever Netflix or whomever, like whatever show that I'm blessed enough to host, I will give them everything that's necessary. Like, and I'm
Sure.
not even just
I
gonna
think
do
they're idiots if they don't take you up on that.
that's what I'm
I agree.
saying. Like, I will bring the sauce, the juice, the drama, the seasoning, the pizzazz, the style. Come on. The one-liners. And I
Oh
feel
my
like I
God, the
have
one-liners were ridiculous. I was like, this is a human being who is meant to be doing this job. Like, so good.
shout out to my marketing degree because I think like that has helped me so much. I'm like, how do I make this catchy for
Yeah.
a B2C, like a B2C ad? How do I make this catchy? Boom. Come up with one-liners, one-liners,
God.
one-liners.
So that's your
The
end goal is to be a
outfits. Yeah, you
host.
had it all.
It's one of my end goals, definitely. Like I
Okay.
would love to be a host. I just feel like I have the personality to be able to kind of like pull more personality out of
Mm,
people. I feel like that's what a host needs to do.
yeah.
Like need to not just drive the show or whatever, but also allow people to get out of their shell, put them in that best kind of
Mm-hmm.
and feel safe
Totally.
and comfortable enough to be maybe if they're clammed up a little bit, like they feel your energy and it makes them want to come out. And that's how you make better TV because
I
you
agree.
get the best kind of TV when people are really coming out of themselves and they're not like so
Mm-hmm.
nervous
Yeah.
before the camera.
I totally
So
agree with you.
and I
I
did that in
couldn't
Perfect. So
I couldn't believe they kept Melinda in the hotel group for so long. Speaking of, I was like, oh, she clearly has hosting chops. She's got the charisma as well. I thought that was pretty a
but it
strange
wasn't the
move.
producers. it was the cast
It was,
members. Like
yeah, it was the cast members.
a lot of them didn't want big personalities to come out and steal screen time.
But it was
So
the
Now that you're
producers.
saying that, it's making me look at it so differently.
It makes me look at it a little differently, but the producers are the ones who decide who is in the first cast. They
yeah,
do make that
Right.
decision, and that was all on them. So if you put Melinda Barry in the kind of runoff that maybe somebody will pick her in the boardroom, maybe they won't, that's on the producers. They have a superstar in her,
Right.
and they're not letting her play from day one. I think that is it's almost criminal, I would say. But let me ask you this about the
I
hosting.
agree.
Have you talked to anybody at Netflix about your desire to host a show? And do you have any
yeah.
ideas for shows yourself?
I threw it in their ear, like, because they're like, "Oh, what's next? What you want to do next?" I was like, "Well, when I'm in LA, I want to do all the big things." But I think that like a really cool opportunity would be like if I could host a show. I feel like I have the oratory skills, the presence, and the ability to be real personable and like capture an audience,
Mhm.
everything that's necessary in being a host. And they were like, "Oh, no, I don't know." So I just hope that like they're not just like, throws that away, puts that in the
Mhm.
recycle. Hope that they actually like tuck that in their back pocket. Like, okay, if we
I think someone's gonna, if it's not Netflix, someone is gonna see that opportunity and
Yeah,
swoop you up.
for sure.
Are you like limited to only doing Netflix shows for a while, or what is?
yeah, I'm under like a 1 year contractual obligation,
Mhm.
but like
Gotcha.
here, I'm a free agent.
And do you have
So,
agents, managers, lawyers, and all that at this point?
well, see, I'm new.
Yeah.
I didn't have any management when the trust came out because the trust was like, it was so small. I only grew up to 23,000 followers, but now
Mhm.
I have management. So now we're like,
Okay.
we're putting in, we
Let's
have a
go.
game and we're putting in the effort. I'm hitting the ground running. So now when ask me that question again, like a few months from now, and you're going to see how things have changed drastically.
I cannot
Yeah,
wait.
I hope
I
we can
can't
still
wait.
get you in a few months. We'll
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
we're in LA, so we should have actually done this
Yeah.
in a studio,
Yes,
but
girl,
next
I would have
time.
come in.
All right, we'll
Next
reschedule
time we
something for
will.
next week. We can do a second interview and see where you at with your with your agents if we can get through. I think what you're telling us is like try to get an interview with me in 2 weeks. See if you can get through my gatekeepers. We'll
Yeah,
see.
my henchmen, they're all set up to protect you from all of the men and the bears.
The
If
bear.
you had to go on a show not as a host, of Netflix or any other reality show, what would you pick?
Ooh, I would love to do like Big Brother, Traders.
Big Bro. Oh, I think you'd
Big
be great
Brother,
on
You
either of
got to go
those.
on Traders. You got to go on Traders.
I want to go, bro. First time I saw Traders, I was like, "What the fuck, bro? This is me. I
Yeah.
would eat the show the fuck up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No,
Built for
I'm
you.
strategizing well." Like I was
Yeah.
literally screaming at the TV, like, "Bro, somebody call my line right now because I will give y'all a fucking show, a fucking
It's so
Well,
funny
show."
because I watch that and I'm like, it would be my literal worst nightmare to go on that show and like have to lie. Like it's so
Oh,
hard.
I'd be like, "What do you mean?" They just, oh my gosh, I don't. They
But you're
just
very
opened up.
experienced.
yeah.
The
And it seems
truck,
like your
you got it all.
contract will expire right in time for you to probably be cast on season 4 of Traders. If that happens, I'm just throwing this out there. I've been doing extensive data analysis on how to play that game and kind of not only do I have a baseline of best practices, but I think I could help you develop a personal strategy through that to make an end run. If you're interested, hit me up
Fuck
if you
yeah.
get cast.
Hint,
Oh yeah,
be
I
a
get cast
trader.
for Traders. I'm calling y'all. We're having a private meeting and we're gonna
Please.
talk plan
Yeah.
and we're gonna win this shit. Just
That
I
show
literally
is
have
so
mathematical
good.
grids about like if you get cast as a traitor, if you get cast as a faithful, if it's week 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I
let's
think that I
do
have that
it.
game
I'm
broken
And
excited.
down.
there's even more data to be collected from the other countries' traders too.
That's true. That's true.
Y'all,
All the
I'm
different strategies.
actually obligating you guys to this. It's a contract we didn't sign, but I'm speaking it. It's a verbal contract.
Okay.
When I get for traders, because I'm speaking that into existence.
Yeah.
When I get for traders, we're gonna have a private meeting and we're gonna talk game plan and strategy.
I can't wait.
TV. I just want the pride to be
Hopefully we'll be coaching more than one person and you can like
Yeah.
secretly be a team. That would be ideal.
I think I'll be in a position to do that within the next probably 3 seasons. I think I'm going to get some teams going in. And then it's my goal in all this, by the way, is to have some
so that they don't like nip it in the bud before it even has a chance to bloom.
I mean, look, the Bachelor producers have known that I've been doing this for 3 years and they can't stop it. So, or maybe they don't even want to at this point. But
we'll cut it out. We'll cut it out.
Yeah. Well,
it was like, you can't let them know you have a strategy. We're gonna go in there, and then whoever's on the team,
be like, I basically still have 2,000 followers. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you make a whole new Instagram. Oh, this is my real Instagram. Yeah. What are you talking about?
That's Harry Jowseying it, applying with all the different characters and personalities. I think you are a rising shooting star in the reality universe at large, and I'm very excited to see what your next steps are. Where can people find you to follow your beautiful journey?
Friends, I made it so easy for everybody. You can find me on all social media platforms, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Snapchat, on Twitter, or I think she's calling herself X now, under the same username, Tolu Ekundare. That's TOLU EKUNDARE. That's my first and last name.
Fantastic.
Go follow Tolu. Let's get her in the 200K club stat.
Yes, immediately. Then we
very close to it. And can I also just thank you for, and this goes out to basically everybody on any Netflix show, you guys all have the little link at the bottom of your Instagram that has all your other stuff, that has your Twitter and your TikTok. Bachelor players still don't get this. They still don't understand. They must have that. It makes it easy for us to follow you on everything. But all you guys at Perfect Match have it.
Oh, because we recognize like our power literally just comes from our followers and our fans. If I didn't have trust me, as somebody who didn't have a fan base, a month ago, I know what it is to like, literally your power is from your fans. Your fans are the wind beneath your wings. So if you don't have them and you don't make it so easily accessible for them to be able to like get a hold of you in the other social media platforms, and what the heck are you doing? What was the stress? In reality TV, it's enjoyable, but it's also not enjoyable sometimes, you know?
That's so that marketing degree. You don't know how many people don't have the same handle across their platforms, you know?
Yeah, I hate this. It's like, no, I'm going to make it easy for everybody, first and last name.
Yeah, we always say that, viewing reality television as a pro sport, it's really like the salaries in other pro sports are determined by these kind of objective statistics. If you have a good batting average, or you score this many touchdowns, or have this many yards rushing, or this many points in a basketball game, whatever. But in reality TV, it's actually us at home, what we call the fourth audience, who's putting that number next to your head, and that determines your salary as a professional reality TV star. And so I agree with you 100%. Make it easy to get those numbers up. Can I ask you one final question before we go? What was it like when you hit 100,000 Instagram followers on Instagram, and did you celebrate? Did you do something to commemorate this occasion?
Yes, I went on my story and I tried to do. It was so cute. I tried to do a toe touch, but I've never done gymnastics a day in my life. But I also had never hit 100,000 followers a day in my life. So I was like, let's do new things. Today is a day to do new things. So of course my toe touch failed terribly. But at least it's a way for me to engage with my new followers and let them know that like 100,000, y'all don't understand. I know the rest of them, they have like hundreds of thousands, 700, 1 point whatever, 4 point whatever million. But me being somebody who literally had 2,000 followers just a year ago, who had 23,000 followers just a month ago, and growing even to 100K, like that means that there's 100,000 people in this life that look at me and love me and want to follow me. And like, that means the fucking world to me. Are you kidding? So I was just so happy because I never saw myself as,
Aw, what are you gonna touch when you hit 200K?
I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a backflip.
I've never done one before.
Yeah.
I mean,
do it over like a pool.
Yeah. Be safe, of course. But for what it's worth, I mean, truly, I think you have multiple
You're gonna
millions
make
of
me
followers
cry.
in your future. I think this is just the beginning of your reality TV career, and I think we're going to be seeing you on our screens for a long, long time. And I can't wait to see everything you do from here on out.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet. Y'all are the sweetest.
Tear
It's
play.
true.
Oh my
Literally,
God.
literally, when our
Yeah,
social media manager was like, "We got Tolu," I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, yeah, you crushed this season.
To me, it was you, Harry Jowsey, and Jess Vestal. That was Perfect
Hmm.
Match season 2. That's what I'll remember it as, you know. And all three of you, I think. Obviously, Harry Jowsey's a massive heavyweight. Jess Vestal came out of Love is Blind, doing something
yeah,
we'd never seen before, hitting 1 million followers without even getting a proposal. And then you
literally.
coming out of the trust and really just like lighting up every scene you were in and making, I think, everybody who watched that show like take notice, like, oh shit, we have a new powerhouse in the Netflix reality universe.
And really root against the guys doing you wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But thank you so much, Tolu, for joining us. And like I said, we can't wait to see where you go next.
Oh, I can't wait to show you guys. And our next little podcast date. Oh, it's gonna be fire because there's so much more that's gonna be happening. The tea is going to be hot, and I'm
Can't
gonna
wait.
spill it.
You're
So
gonna
I
have 10
can't.
henchmen. We'll do it in person. It'll be
Yeah.
great.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys
Thank you, Tolu.
so
All
much
right, take
fun.
care.
Our
All
pleasure.
right.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then